Welcome to iScope Media. We have come to know and we have been reported that G23 Congress and Rahul Gandhi have asked for the same thing. Then what is the problem? Well, G23, the Congress group that first raised and organized a demand for reform in the party leadership, is now officially in patch-up talks with the party's leadership of the Gandhis. The process of reconciliation began last week after top Congress leader Rahul Gandhi reached out to some of the G23 members in the aftermath of the recent electoral losses in the 5 assembly polls. The dissident group, called G23 for the original 23 signatories to a letter demanding organizational change in the Congress in August 2020, has been a pressure group within the party. The number has not remained fixed as some of the members resigned, and now their number is said to have swelled after the Congress failed to register a win in a single state poll out of the 5 polls. Well, G23 in Congress, when G23 leaders stirred the Congress's leadership pot about 2 years ago, their main demand were holding elections to fill posts in the organization and a visible and relentless leadership by one of the Gandhis or else somebody from outside the family. However, the G23 Congress leaders were targeted by the Gandhi family, especially loyalists, also their loyalists, for suggesting that the party could find a president outside the family. Congress leaders such as Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and Ajay McCain launched frontal attacks on G23 leaders. The attacks by Gandhi family loyalists on G23 leaders have remained unexplained, given that his brand of Congress leaders have not demanded anything different from Rahul Gandhi said in his resignation letter after 2019 party's second consecutive rout in the Lok Sabha polls. Now, what did Rahul Gandhi actually say? Rahul Gandhi had said 3 key things in his letter. First, he laid down a condition that a non-Gandhi should become the Congress president. That is, neither Sonia Gandhi nor Priyanka Gandhi Vadra should be considered for the top post after his resignation. Second, Rahul Gandhi said he found himself fighting the Bharatiya Janata Party alone. His attack was directed at party leaders at national and state levels. But his complaint also conversely came as an admission that a Gandhi as Congress president was not inspiring enough for the Congress workers and leaders. So someone from the outside should lead the party. Now, third, Rahul Gandhi said some of the senior leaders of the party were more concerned about the sons and daughters' victory in the election. His complaint conversely also meant that the senior Congress leaders did not have enough faith in the party organization and the Gandhi's leadership for victory in the polls. So an organizational overhauling of the party was required. Now, well, what is the difference in here? The G23 Congress leaders have not demanded anything different from this. Their focus has been on making Congress leadership at all levels more committed, responsible, and accountable. Their original letter said, "We have witnessed a steady decline of the Congress party reflected in successful electoral verdicts in state and general elections in 2014 and 2019. Reasons are manifold and need to be immediately identified. Otherwise, the Congress will find itself marginalized both in the state, which is already apparent, as well as national level." Well, even after 14 months of 2019 electoral verdict, which they wrote in actually August 2020, the Congress has not undertaken any honest introspection to analyze the reasons for its continued decline. They also wrote, "The uncertainty over the leadership and the drift has demoralized the Congress workers and further weakened the party. There has been an erosion of the support base with leaders and functionaries leaving the party in a number of states." Well, now has G23 validated this? Well, on a trip to the US in March 2021, Rahul Gandhi said G23 was part of the Congress's nature. Interacting with group of university students in US, Rahul Gandhi asked, "Do you think they could exist in BJP, BSP, or the Trinamool Congress?" However, despite the G23 essentially making the same demand as Rahul Gandhi, and despite the de facto boss of the Congress presenting the dissenting group as party's democratic strength, the two sides did not go for reconciliation. Well, communication between the G23 and the Gandhis has reportedly stopped completely. With another round of rout in assembly elections and the Lok Sabha election roughly 2 years away, reconciliation looks possible. Congress President Sonia Gandhi met Ghulam Nabi Azad and Rahul Gandhi met Bhupinder Singh Hooda. This has come at a time when there are whispers that if G23 leaders' concerns are not addressed, the Congress might face a split. Some reports claimed the size of G23 has grown bigger enough to be called at G46 now. Well, but here's a major question. Is it the right time for this conflict? Well, this is happening when the party's machinery is preparing for presidential election in August and September. If one of the Gandhis stand for the party president's post, either there will be no challenger or no real contest in the challenge. However, to become president without cutting the G23 knot would further erode the credibility of the Congress leadership. And in case of a split, it would be a huge embarrassment for the Gandhis. Indira Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi's grandmother, consolidated her position on the Congress organization after splitting the party. Her son Rajiv Gandhi got charge of the party following her assassination in 1984, but has to face a split led by Vishwanath Pratap Singh in 1987 to 88. Well, when Sonia Gandhi assumed the Congress's leadership, her authority on the party was established only after a split led by Sharad Pawar, Tariq Anwar, and P.A. Sangma. Her authority could be cemented only after the split. Now, another dissenting group has challenged the leadership model of Rahul Gandhi, calling for surgery in the party. Incidentally, Rahul Gandhi too has suggested a similar hauling of the party, but it has taken the two chambers of Congress to have communication channels. Now, here we know what has been the problem, even though G23 and Rahul Gandhi has been asking the same thing currently. Well, stay with us. We shall bring you more interesting topics to talk upon. This is Aparna Sundar reporting for iScope Media.